The mental health movement is more visible than it's ever been, but you'd be surprised to see how often we still look down on it without realizing. In Why We Make Fun of Mental Health, YouTuber Tyreke Simmonds highlights the importance of how there is still a silent stigma around mental wellness. In this video, we're going to build on some of the insights Tyreke already made and would love to hear your thoughts. Let's help spread more awareness around mental health for the world. Have you ever caught yourself laughing at tasks other people struggle with? Do you ever think they're overreacting and that they should stop making such a big deal out of something so small? This kind of unintentional behavior adds to the stigma. Why do we tend to downplay something so important for our well-being? And more importantly, how can we shift this narrative? Power play dynamics, profit over people. While the stigma around mental health has lessened, it's important to recognize that the problem hasn't disappeared, especially in environments that prioritize profit and productivity over individual well-being. There are many horror stories of employers in the workplace not understanding the mental health issues an employee may be going through. For example, an accountant during a busy tax season may experience high stress and anxiety, but if they choose to complain to their boss, they may be seen as lazy or using mental health as an excuse to escape work. And unfortunately, the same can be said for the schooling system. Instead of receiving the support they need, students who express mental health or family issues may be seen as lying to get out of doing the work to get good grades. While we're starting to see some positive changes, the current systems still lack the resources and understanding for real progress to happen. How we dismiss and misrepresent mental health unintentionally. We've all seen it happen. A friend jokingly refers to themselves as so OCD because they like their desk tidy, or someone dismisses anxiety as just worrying too much. Perhaps you've overheard someone say, "Everyone's depressed these days," as if it were a passing trend. These are just a few ways mental health is often minimized, misrepresented, and even ridiculed. For many, these offhand comments may seem harmless, but they reveal a deeper societal issue. The tendency to look down on mental health struggles as something less serious or even laughable. Whether it's through dismissive comments or the overuse of diagnostic terms like bipolar or ADHD to describe everyday behaviors. These attitudes contribute to a culture that undermines the real challenges people face. But why do this? So where does this stigma come from? Historically, mental health issues have been shrouded in mystery and misunderstanding. In ancient times, those suffering from mental illness were often seen as possessed or cursed, leading to fear and ostracization. This fear of the unknown has deep roots in our collective psyche. And while we've come a long way from the days of asylums and exorcisms, the remnants of these attitudes persist. Even as science progressed, the lack of visible symptoms in many mental health conditions led to the perception that they were somehow less real than physical ailments. Psychologically, this stigma persists because mental health challenges force us to confront uncomfortable truths about human vulnerability. Admitting the seriousness of these issues requires acknowledging that mental illness can happen to anyone. It's easier to downplay or mock what we fear, which is why jokes and dismissive attitudes are often a defense mechanism. Another reason for this stigma is the persistent belief in the mind over matter myth. Many still believe that mental health issues are a sign of weakness or a lack of willpower, rather than recognizing them as legitimate medical conditions that require treatment. This misconception keeps us from acknowledging the complexity of mental health and prevents those who are struggling from seeking the help they need. The dangers of dark humor and self-diagnosis. In today's digital age, dark humor and self-diagnosis are two prominent ways this stigma continues. Dark humor, often shared as memes or jokes, allows people to distance themselves from the seriousness of mental health issues by laughing at them. While humor can be a coping mechanism, it can also reinforce harmful stereotypes and trivialize the struggles of those living with mental health conditions. For example, jokes like, "I must be bipolar because I'm so emotional," trivialize the complex reality of bipolar disorder and reinforce harmful stereotypes by reducing a serious mental health condition to mere fluctuations in mood. Self-diagnosis, especially through social media, is another way mental health is both misrepresented and misunderstood. Platforms like TikTok and Instagram are flooded with content that encourages users to label themselves with mental health conditions based on brief descriptions or trends. While this can raise awareness, it also risks oversimplifying complex issues, leading to a superficial understanding of mental health and perpetuating the idea that these diagnoses are just another part of an online identity. How to talk about mental health without making fun of it, and your role in the conversation. So how do we shift the conversation? It starts with empathy and understanding. Instead of making jokes, try listening. When someone shares their struggles, offer support instead of solutions. Recognize that mental health issues are just as real and valid as physical ones, and treat them with the same seriousness. Education is key. The more we learn about mental health, the less mysterious and scary it becomes. Encourage open, honest conversations about mental well-being and challenge stigmatizing language when you hear it. It's okay to find humor in life's challenges, but let's be mindful of where we draw the line between laughing with someone and laughing at their expense. Also, it's helpful to learn about the signs and symptoms of various disorders and to acknowledge if you suspect you might have one. However, it's important to leave the actual diagnosis to professionals. Finally, remember that changing the way we talk about mental health is a collective effort. By fostering a culture of respect and understanding, we can help dismantle the stigma and create a world where mental health is treated with the care and compassion it deserves. Understanding why we look down on mental health can empower us to change the narrative and create a culture where people feel safe to talk about their struggles without fear of being laughed at. So let's start a conversation in the comments down below. How can we support one another's mental health journeys? Share your thoughts and insights. And if you found this video valuable, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and watch more of our videos like 8 things you can do to improve your mental health and 6 most misunderstood mental disorders you should know about. Thanks so much for being here. See you next time.